Good evening and welcome to Jerusalem Eyewitness News. I'm Rock Stone. Our top story tonight, Jesus of Nazareth has been arrested by the High Council on charges of blasphemy. The arrest came shortly before midnight in the Garden of Gethsemane, where soldiers from the temple found Jesus with his closest friends. A temple spokesman says they believe Jesus might have been plotting with those friends in the garden, but a source close to Jesus says they were only praying. Jesus is standing trial before the high priest at this very hour, and we'll have more as the story develops. Now, here's a check of the weather with our buddy, Mark Storm. Mark?
Hey, Rock. We've got a pretty nice forecast coming for this coming weekend, but before I get to that, did you say Jesus of Nazareth was arrested?
That's right.
For what?
We're still waiting to confirm that, but it seems as though the High Council is charging him with pretending to be God.
Pretending? That's crazy.
I know.
But he doesn't have to pretend. He is God. I've seen the miracles.
You mean you're a believer?
Well, sure. Who wouldn't be?
Well, according to sources down at the temple, there's a large crowd of people turning against him at this very moment.
I gotta say, that just doesn't sound right to me. He's healed the sick, the blind, the crippled. Man, he's even raised people from the dead. Why would anybody want to arrest Jesus? Unless
what, Mark?
No, that's too crazy, even for me.
What's that?
What if getting arrested was his plan? What if Jesus wants to be put on trial?
Why would he do that?
He's God's son, Rock. If he let those men arrest him, I know he's got a reason.
Mark, can we get a forecast, please?
The forecast? Sure. It's going to be a nice sunny weekend, all the way till Sunday. But if you ask me, something big is coming. It's not on the radar, but I have a feeling that we're in for an earth-shaking event this weekend. Back to you, Rock.
Thank you, Mark. I have just been told that we have an eyewitness account of what has transpired tonight at the arrest of Jesus.
Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane. He said to them, "Sit here while I go over and pray." He took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee along with him, and they began to be sad and troubled. Then he said to them, "My soul is very sad. I feel close to death. Stay here. Keep watch with me." But he went a little further. Then he fell on his face to the ground and he prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, take this cup of suffering away from me. But let what you want to be done, not what I want." Then he returned to his disciples and found them sleeping. "Couldn't you men keep watch with me 1 hour?" he asked Peter. "Watch and pray. Then you won't fall into sin when you are tempted. The spirit is willing, but the body is weak." Jesus went away a second time and he prayed, "My Father, is it possible for this cup to be taken away? But if I must drink it, may what you want be done." Then he came back. And again he found them sleeping. They couldn't keep their eyes open. So he left them and went away once more. For the third time he prayed the same thing. Then he returned to the disciples and he said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Look, the hour has come. The Son of Man is about to be handed over to sinners. Get up, let's go. Here comes the one who is handing me over to them." While Jesus was still speaking, Judas arrived. He was one of the 12 disciples. A large crowd was with him. They were carrying swords and clubs. The chief priests and the elders of the people had sent them. Judas, who was going to hand Jesus over, had arranged a signal with them. He said, "The one that I kiss is the man." He said, "Arrest him." So Judas went to Jesus at once. He said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and he kissed him. Jesus replied, "Friend, do what you came to do." Then all the men stepped forward. They grabbed Jesus and arrested him. At that moment, one of Jesus' companions reached for his sword. He pulled it out and he struck the slave of the high priest with it. And he cut off the slave's ear. "Put your sword back in its place," Jesus said to him. "All who use the sword will die by the sword. Do you think I can't ask my Father for help? He would send an army of more than 10,000 angels right away. But then how would the scriptures come true? They say it must happen this way." At that time, Jesus turned and spoke to the crowd. "Am I leading a band of armed men against you? Do you have to come at me with swords and clubs to capture me? Every day I sat in the temple courtyard teaching, and you didn't arrest me. But all this happened so that the words of the prophets would come true. Then all the disciples left him and ran away.
Well, that's all for tonight, folks. We will continue to follow this story and provide updates when they are available to us. For now, good night from all of us here at Jerusalem Eyewitness News.